So, welcome back with yet another episode of JECRC Alumni Unplugged. I'm Aditya,
This is Vandan.
and today we have Atul Anand sir as our guest for today's episode. He is 2005 graduate from Electronics and Communication program. So, let's roll.
True.
How are you feeling, sir? I mean, being back to the college after so long.
Yeah, so it is absolutely a nostalgic feeling because this is the same place where I started my journey in 2001, right? So I still remember the day when I had my first day in campus. So I still remember that across. So there's emotion, lots of emotions, a flood of emotions which is going across. And I'm feeling grateful, thankful,
Yes,
plus
sir.
nostalgic. And it is a feeling of wow. That's what I can say it across. Yeah.
Wow, so you must have had a lot of memories with the college. And you were from the starting batch. So that have special impact on that.
Definitely, for sure. Yes, being a first or second batch, it gives you a better privilege. Why? Because there are lesser people around. People know each other. Your professors know each other. Know you by name, and so it's more of a bonded feeling of bonding when you are there all together. In being a starting batch, right? So it's always that feeling, special feeling, right? And you feel connected. You feel more rooted. You feel more connected to your roots. That's a basic thing I feel, and that's a humbling experience. Being one of those early batches.
Okay. So, Vandan?
Okay, so so which movie or TV show character best represents your college experience and why?
Okay, so see, there are various for sure. Akshay Kumar is one of my favorite for sure. Uh, if you ask me about movie, I'll say Dil Chahta is the movie which I basically, which is quite vivid in my mind, and so these are the 2-3 things which always, comes into my mind when you talk about this. Yeah.
Great, sir.
I mean, sir, I've seen that you're very disciplined. You do yoga and a lot, and you've traveled a lot of countries because of the yoga.
Yeah.
And you've actually wrote a book on the yoga, experiencing life as a yogi.
Yeah.
So tell us something about that. How did you started yoga and
So I agree with you that discipline for sure is the must, and I'm sure you will also echo with other people as well. And I know once I was having a discussion with Priyanka ma'am, she said discipline is the most important thing. So I agree with it that if you're not disciplined, you cannot go, you cannot take up your you know view from X to Y level, right? So if you have to take a pace, if you have to go to a higher altitude, you need to be disciplined, right? So yoga is one of that element which basically helps me to be more disciplined. What was the secret of writing that book was I underwent some of those issues, right? So when I was young, and I'm still young for sure, second thought for sure.
definitely, sir?
But then when I was 30, I found that I started, neglecting my health, right? So I used to take things for granted. I used to work for 17 or 18 hours a day. I had some, issues, starting from back issues, starting from, other medical complications. And that's what I found that, it does not look, it does not require to be, fit outside. But then what you need to be requiring is you need to be agile from your mind. You need to be, agile from your body. You need to be having that kind of thought process. And that's how I say thanks to my father, because he actually basically brought me to the elements of yoga. And so when I used to be 6-year-old child, I used to see him doing yoga. But then at that point in time, I never realized it. I'll start practicing. So it's more than a decade since I've been practicing it, and I feel great because it gives you the strength. It basically allows you to handle and take the life as it comes across to you. It helps you to be more prepared. It creates the alertness in you, right? So you basically are receptive and open to all the kind of situations which comes across, right? Because now life is so complicated, whether it's your work, whether it's your profession, or whether it's your personal life, whether the other things. So until unless you don't have the sound mind, you cannot give your best, right? So you need to be focused, and yoga basically helps me to bring that focus. Yeah.
And so, what's the story of traveling through different countries with the help of yoga?
That is the most that's the most sacred and the most noblest thing, I'll say. See, I have done multiple travels, business travel, but then, and the most memorable time of mine is when I traveled because of yoga, right? So I traveled to Australia. I delivered a session over there with multiple nationality. I traveled to Thailand and Bangkok, And people say that, no, boss, you have gone to Bangkok and Thailand, you basically taught yoga. I said, yes, absolutely, because they say that, no, when you go to Thailand, you go for body massage and all. So I said, no, for sure, I went only for yoga, and you feel great about it, right? Because at the end of the day, what matters is, you know, yoga is all about spirituality for me, right? So you need to be ensuring that how those roots of spirituality can be spread across. And the most wonderful experience which I had was in Bangkok, when there were more than 11 nationalities of people who were there, right? Starting from Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Japanese, Korean. It was definitely an humbling experience. I still remember those memories in my mind. The day before, when I was about to have my session, I had my twisted ankle. So my ankle got twisted, and it was paining a lot. I didn't even know whether I will be able to take it. And somehow I got that crab bandage. I put it across my toe across, and then somehow I had some sprays across, and then I was able to carry out that. And post that, I was removing my crab bandage, and people saw my swollen leg, and they said, "You had this?" I said, "Yes." So and then they said, you should have avoided and you should have told no. So I said, no, I have committed, and that's how the reason I traveled was basically for doing that, right?
Yes, sir, but somewhere this shows that how disciplined you are.
That's how life is, right? And life has been kind, so discipline is paying me off for sure.
So your aura definitely has that element of yoga, that calming aura you have. It's great to be around. So digital transformation, you are of course a veteran in this field. So out of 17 plus years of your experience, what challenges you have faced with different businesses that you have worked with?
So first and foremost, I'll say is, see, digital transformation, if you try to decode this word, this is about change. Whether it's in change in technology, change in people, change in processes, change in mindset. So transformation is all about how you get back to the basics by going back to the board, saying that whatever you have done in past, it might not take you to the next level, right? So your focus should be how you should be continuously learning, and same is applicable for business, right? So businesses across the world is getting impacted because of technology, because of the Gen Z which is coming across now. So you cannot use the obsolete technology, you cannot work with the obsolete ways of working. You need to be innovative, you need to be thinking out of the box, you need to think that how better you can be, better version of yourself, better version of the business, right? So those are the basic elements. And transformation, and talking about digital transformation is absolutely taking a toll on organizations and business per se, right? Because if you as an organization is not able to keep pace with it, you will definitely fall apart, right? And there are so many organizations which have become now history, which has become now old name, right? So if you see the likes of Kodak, Fujifilm, right? So those are the organizations which were not able to adapt themselves, right? So if you have to be in the name of the game, you need to be thinking of change. And yes, digital transformation is the only way forward. It symbolizes the change. It symbolizes change in your mindset and working with the technology, working with the set of people, and ensuring how the processes are across it.
Okay, so sir, let's come back to some college questions.
So you can see the smile on my face, because that's how college brings me back to it. Right?
Sir, I want to maintain that smile. That's why I'm going for the college questions. Okay. So sir, did you ever pull any memorable pranks on your professors or your fellow students?
So if you ask me across it has been more than 18, 19 years. And hand on the heart, I'm saying hand on the heart, I was one of the most Buddhist student. I never bunked any class. And all my, all my batchmates, they used to call me Gorkha. Because, I used to ask them to come inside, let's have a class and all. Because I used to guard the room Gorkha, and asking them, be sitting over here. I never did that. But then yes, that's also an experience, right? And then whenever they meet me and then they say that Gorkha, are you still like that? I said yes, absolutely, I'm still like that. I'm still disciplined. I'm still because you have to be true to what you are, right? So when you're a student, you have to be true to your studies. That's what I feel like.
That's the kind of image I have in my class. So again,
good. And I'm sure you will also be sitting someday, sometime over here, and someone will take interviews for you as well.
I wish I could have also said the same about it.
Then see, all the fingers are not same, right? So he might be a thumb, you can be a the biggest finger. So so all are different, right? So that's
yes,
so
sir.
we have to be what we are, right? So that's fine.
Okay, so sir, another question. what's the most interesting or unusual club or organization you were a part of in college?
So I was part of multiple of it, right? So I was part of some of the clubs which were organizing those Renaissance and all. So and I remember those days when Renaissance was never being so big, but then it was like it was a concept. It was more of a baby for the students who were there around, and then we seek blessing of our pizza and all, everyone, right? So I was part of the social club at which basically organized those things. And then I still remember for the first time when we had our sports day and all those things, right? So I enjoy those things, those moments for sure, because that was the greatest time, and those were the budding thing, right? And I'm sure Renaissance must be the greatest and even the most important thing in everyone's mind, at this point in time, because I know those seeds were sown at that point in time. That's what I said.
So which sport you were into in your college days? Like you used to play any sport or?
So I will see. They say that if you don't know anything, you should be knowing cricket, right? So that's how I used to do. Yeah. So cricket was cricket I used to play for sure. Yeah, and then see, to be very honest, I'm a most studious child, right? So it's like all play and those kind of things, right? So I never believe in playing. Right? I always used to be in the books, buried in the books. People used to call me bookworm, which is fine. I'm still fine. Okay.
Yes, you take it very seriously, and now you wrote a book.
And there's another one which is there. So yeah.
Coming back to technology, what does the future of blockchain technology look like to you?
That's a very good and interesting question. To be very honest, since I'm doing my PhD in it, and and again I'm trying to say, I will complete my PhD by end of September. So keeping fingers crossed that I will get my degree by then. Right. So blockchain, if you see, it's basically, if you see the technology, right? Technology is basically helping you to enable trust. So that shows a problem in the society, right? So the biggest problem in society is people don't trust each other. Business don't trust each other. Organizations don't trust each other. So when these elements are there, the trust and mistrust, these factors are there, then technology can be one of those saviors, right? So blockchain technology, if you ask me across my area of research, is how blockchain can be used for establishing trust in supply chain, right? Okay. So supply chain as a whole value system, it basically originates from raw material procurement to the overall end of it, right? So at each and every element, partners don't trust each other, right? So technology helps you to have that kind of trust enabled, and you basically capture the snapshot at that point in time, right? So blockchain definitely holds the future, because it is one of the enabling element. It's one of the enabling technology for trust, and yes, so blockchain for sure would be enabling the trust not only for supply chain, for education sector, for government records. People, if you see land records are put in hard ways, hard copies, right? Yes. You can always use blockchain technology for storing those things, right? So I've seen education institutes giving degrees in blockchain. And I know there was one of the use case JU has started where you guys implemented blockchain as well, right? So blockchain definitely holds a great future for sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so sir, yet another question for you. Kind of funny question. Okay, so what was your go-to late night snack in college?
See, okay, I am an early food eater, and that's how which has kept me like 62. So I was, when I was in school, or when I was in my 12th, I was 59 kg. When I was in college, it was 62 kg, and at this point in time also I'm 62 kg only. Why? Because I never believe in late night, right? So I always, take my dinner at around 6 or 7. Because you need to have 12 or 13 hours of intermittent fasting, or whatsoever you say, right? So I never believe in eating junk. I know the thing which I used to like the most was curd rice. So that's how I used to, if there's a late night, if I have to be awake for some studies and exam, I used to like curd rice, and so those were the curd rice is my favorite. If you say at late night, if I have to wake up for studies and all, so I used to take that.
I'm kind of like regretting for myself now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, sir, let's start with the rapid fire questions.
Oh God, so you are keeping me on a hot seat, so I should run.
Yes.
That's the thing which I don't like.
So here comes the first question. Pick one and forget the other. Blockchain or cloud computing?
Pick one, blockchain for sure. Forget cloud. Yes.
Okay. So 2 life hacks you incorporated during your college days. to make it simpler,
I want to skip this question.
Okay. So choose your side, Twitter versus Threads.
Threads.
Threads, that's an
Yeah.
interesting pick.
Yeah.
Author you are inspired by the most.
There are various, but then the book which I liked the most was, Life of a Yogi, by Paramananda. So that's the and I read lots of Swami Vivekananda book as well. So these are the two spiritual books which I like it, and they have inspired me. Yes.
Sir, a place you would definitely want to visit whenever given a chance.
I have visited Switzerland multiple number of times for sure, so I will visit again. Udaipur I have recently visited. I would like to visit it again as well. Yeah, Udaipur from Rajasthan and Switzerland from across the world. Yes.
Wow, sir. Okay, so sir, what would be the advice you would give yourself as a freshman if you were to go back in time?
Hopefully, I could have been enjoyed life more, right? Because I was a bookworm.